The NFL season is right around the corner, and we're getting you ready for week 1 right here on No Timeouts. That's Dan Wilkins, that's Tyler MacKillop, that's Zak McDonald, and my name is Jonah Birenbaum. And gentlemen, we are right in the thick of hot take season. That's what I want from you guys right now, the hot takes. But I'm going to pose a challenge to you guys. Each take you give has to be hotter than the preceding take. So if Wilkins says, I think that the Chiefs won't make the playoffs, you can't then say, I think Lamar Jackson is going to finish top 5 in MVP voting. Okay? That's the challenge. Wilk, you're up first. What's your hot take?
I think I can start us off spicy enough here. I'm going to say that Caleb Williams is still going to turn out to be the top quarterback from the 2024 draft class.
Setting the tone.
And I think that that'll probably sound
That's
a little
not a
bit
cold
like...
take. There's a little spice to that.
Yeah, I mean, I think that'll probably sound a little bit like an anti-Jaden Daniels take based on the rookie season we have, but I promise you it's not. I love Jaden Daniels. I just like Caleb Williams more. And, you know, coming off last season, obviously the results weren't there. It's not what you wanted to see from a number 1 overall pick at quarterback. Some of that was his fault. I think he bears some of the responsibility, but I think we can all... Yeah,
some of the responsibility.
There you go.
Not bad.
I think that we can probably all agree that the majority of the responsibility is on the clown show that was happening around him. You know, awful offensive line, even worse coaching staff. The Bears understood this. They went into the offseason and addressed both of those things. Lots of reinforcements on the offensive line. And they went out and they got the best possible coaching candidate to maximize everything that we thought Caleb Williams could be coming out of USC. I think we saw some glimpses of it in the preseason. There was some early training camp reports about how the early stages of the offense weren't going quite well. He was having some trouble adjusting. I think that was always part of the process. He's adjusting to a fully new system after whatever it is he was being asked to do last year. We got it there on the preseason against the Bills, and it looked like this Bears offense seems like a unit that's prepared to light it up. So I'm expecting some really good things from this offense this year. I think Caleb starts to show signs of the player that we all thought he could be coming out. I believe on the show last year, we were talking about how he was primed to hit the ground running. He was in the best situation a number 1 overall pick has ever had. Obviously, that was wrong, but I don't think we're going out on a limb here saying that this is really setting him up to have some success. So again, this is not anything against Jaden Daniels. He had a spectacular rookie season. I think he's going to continue that this year and in the years ahead. But long term, I would still take Caleb Williams.
And over Bo Nix.
Yes. Yes.
All right, T, you're up.
I think I'm taking this one to quite a higher level because this is not what we're being told by Jacksonville themselves. But I think Travis Hunter is going to play at least 100 snaps in half of the Jaguars games this year because they desperately need him really badly on both sides of the ball. We just saw them pick up Tim Patrick from the Lions. And then we also are seeing, an option being like a Parker Washington. De'Ami Brown was a guy they added. They obviously let Evan Ingram go. Like the weapons here for Trevor Lawrence aren't super exciting outside of Brian Thomas Jr. So I know they desperately need Travis Hunter and want to play Travis Hunter on the offensive side of the ball. But defensively, this is the worst secondary in the NFL. It was last year, and they did very little to answer those questions. Andrew Wingard's he's been with the team for 6 years as a depth option. He's going to be now starting at one of the safety spots. Eric Murray's like 31 years old, another option they signed. They kept a couple more. The guys like Tyson Campbell's still there at corner as one of their top options. Jordan Lewis was kind of the prized possession for the defense in terms of the secondary to help things out there. I think the secondary is going to be awful. And they were one of the worst teams in the league when it came to forcing turnovers. I think they only had 6 interceptions on the year, the 3rd least in the NFL. This is a prime opportunity for Hunter to step in and make plays. Maybe it's just in the red zone. He's an elite corner when it comes to forcing turnovers and baiting quarterbacks into the wrong read. I just don't see how, if this team wants to be successful, they don't use Hunter on both sides of the ball, and he is completely capable of doing so. I know we saw him get hurt at Colorado once or twice, but he's, in terms of stamina and being able to play at a high level for 100 snaps, he's 100% capable of doing that, and he's proven it in college, and I think he will prove that in the NFL and be a complete unicorn.
I think what we probably end up seeing is he plays something near a full-time role on offense, and then defense, it's more so just like more obvious passing situations. Keep him out of the game on first down, so he's not having to tackle like Derrick Henry on an outside zone play. Like, we don't want that. But I see him playing a lot. Like, that's why he was the number 2 pick. That's why he traded a future first to go get him. He's a unique guy.
But that is pretty outrageous volume. There wasn't a single player in the NFL who logged 100 snaps in a game last year. I think EJ Speed had the highest single game snap count, and that was at 96. So to play 100 once would be a huge feat in today's NFL. To play it in half of Jacksonville's games would be outrageous. And I think since snap counts started being reliably tracked in 2012, there's only one player who has played 15 plus snaps on offense and on defense in the same game. That's Scott Matlock from the Chargers, who part-time defensive lineman, part-time fullback. So this is truly unprecedented, at least in really pulling that one out of the bag. It would be absolutely incredible to see a guy log that kind of volume and play that many snaps and be able to sustain it for even half of a season. That would be crazy. I like that take though, because you're really appreciating the spirit of the exercise. Zachy, you're up.
All right, I got one. It's time to get out of the Frank's Red Hot zone that we've been in here, get some real spicy takes. I think I have, in week 9, I believe it was, Troy Aikman. He'll be calling Monday Night Football for a Dallas Cowboys game. He will go on an epic tirade about the ineptitude of the Cowboys. He will slam Dak Prescott and the whole Micah Parsons situation. And this will lead to a physical altercation on the sidelines between Troy Aikman.
On the sidelines? He's in the booth.
No, he's coming down. He's coming
down after the game. Jerry Jones is going to call him down. It will lead to a physical interaction on the sidelines between Jerry Jones and Troy Aikman that will send the media into such a spiral that it will either galvanize the Dallas Cowboys to win the rest of their games for the season, or it will be such disarray that they will lose every single game for the rest of the season.
When you say physical, you just mean they're going to meet, right? Because like if Troy Aikman...
No, fisticuffs between Troy Aikman and 82-year-old Jerry Jones.
Jerry Jones, like he might turn into...
Now there's going to be a push. There will be a push.
Oh, God.
And I will be initiated by Jerry Jones.
Next time, I think your take should be a little more specific. This one was a little too vague.
I've got an upcoming surprise for you, Jonah.
I don't doubt that Troy Aikman's frustration with the Cowboys could very well boil over this season. Do I see it necessarily, culminating in a physical altercation with the octogenarian owner of the team? Probably not. But I think that you're onto something that
they don't call it hot takes for a reason.
Exactly. I think you're onto something that the dysfunction with the Cowboys is reaching a fever pitch, and it's really been distilled with this Micah Parsons situation. And look, I see the Cowboys bottoming out this year. I really do.
Troy Aikman, over the years, you'll notice, gets progressively more curmudgeon-y in the booth and starts going after players every single year, and I absolutely love it. And it's the documentary, which was amazing, by the way. If you haven't watched that, watch that. But that's my take. Get hotter than that.
Yes,
I mean, can I just ignore that one and try to get harder than this one? Because I don't know how I do that.
He really set the bar impossibly high. So T, we'll throw it to you, and maybe we can we'll start from zero. We'll reset. Okay.
All right,
you want me to reset?
Enough.
Yes, you're up.
Okay. I'm gonna go again. We're gonna get back on the football field here. For the first time since 2018. We will see a team have the number 1 scoring defense and not make the playoffs, and that team's going to be the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Wow. Okay.
Defensively, I don't know how you can be any higher on this group, because you have Herbig with the big season. Highsmith's been consistently a great pass rusher for them. Cam Hayward's back on the field. TJ Watt, obviously. This is all 4 of these guys were top 50 in pass rush win rate last year. It's an elite group of guys that get after the quarterback. The secondary was a problem last year for them, obviously, and I think they were 21st in opponent yards per pass attempt. They make some changes there. Deshaun Elliott, Juan Thornhill come in at safety. I think getting rid of Minkah Fitzpatrick for Jalen Ramsey's a good move. It just seemed like the rest of the locker room was not really down with Minkah Fitzpatrick for most of last year. So I'm good there with getting Joey Porter Jr. a partner, because he took on a lot of wide receiver 1 duties that I don't think he was quite ready for. So I think the secondary will be better. Darius Slay is another option in there, but I don't think we're getting prime Darius Slay. But offensively, Arthur Smith, Aaron Rodgers is a match made in hell. Not heaven, hell. Because I don't know how excited I am to see a run-first play caller who doesn't really have the personnel in terms of, a Jalen Warren. I think we'll probably see more Caleb Johnson as those traditional running the ball spots. But the weapons here for Aaron Rodgers, who's put together 2 of the worst statistical seasons of his career, his last 2 full years. We're talking about, pressure to sack rate at the highest of his career. He's not making a lot of those big-time throws. and he doesn't have like a nuanced route runner to be able to get the ball to. You know, we have DK Metcalf, but he's not a guy that really operates in those shorter areas of the field. Maybe it's Jonnu Smith, a lot of 2 tight end sets with him and Freiermuth. I think his offense is in for a really, really tough year with a really young offensive line that could be good, but I also think has a potentially low floor. I don't think 42-year-old Aaron Rodgers is in position to give this offense the punch it's expecting. So I think the defense will be great, but I don't think the offense will be anywhere near the upper half of the league.
Wilk, you're up. You got to top that.
I don't know if this is hotter, but based on the way I see power rankings and playoff and Super Bowl predictions out there, I think it might be. I'm going to say that the Commanders are not a playoff team. And again,
that's pretty
that's
spicy.
hot.
That's pretty hot.
I probably need to qualify this because, again, this is not anything against, like, I don't know why this is an anti-Commander
Dan
segment for me,
hates
but
Jaden Daniels.
I think Jaden Daniels is awesome, and I think he's going to keep going in the right direction. I think the offense could be quite good again. I love the additions that they made to the offensive line with Laramie Tunsil and the first-round pick, Josh Connolly at tackle. But, man, I do not know what to think of this defense. I think that they needed a lot of upgrades, specifically up front, and I don't know that a 36-year-old Von Miller is the one to provide that.
He's not.
On that note, it's probably worth pointing out that this is the oldest roster in football, and it's not actually even close. They're just, and this is not really something you see from a team that we consider to be an up-and-comer, like a new kid on the scene, and this is the oldest roster in football, and I don't know, that just doesn't make sense to me in terms of projecting like continued growth. And then you have the fact that last year, I know you can kind of, explain away this by the fact that they did win 2 playoff games, but their road to the playoffs was actually quite easy. Among I think they won 12 games, was it? Only one of those was against a playoff team throughout the regular season, and that was their second game against the Eagles where Jalen Hurts got hurt in the first quarter and they had to finish out with Kenny Pickett. The schedule gets a whole lot more difficult this year. They're playing the NFC North and the AFC West, which I think are objectively the 2 most difficult divisions in football. So I don't know. I think they're trending in the right direction. I think they'll be a competitive team. Maybe I'm wrong here, but I think that anyone expecting them to be pushing for the Super Bowl just because they hit the NFC title game in year 1 of the rebuild is probably going to be disappointed.
2 things for me are they're doing the opposite of what all the other teams with rookie quarterbacks have done, which is take advantage of the cheap contract and like build out the roster in other places. We saw the Bears, we see the Broncos doing that. They let a lot of guys in the D-line walk. And then this is really small, but Terry McLaurin not being there in the preseason I think is a little bit of a concern because Jaden was so good with the deep ball in college, and that didn't actually show in the NFL in his rookie year. And getting the time with McLaurin in training camp would have been nice to like build on that and potentially find it because it could be something that they really need.
We've seen that a lot recently, right? Like CeeDee Lamb was holding out for a while before he signed late in the season. He started off slow. I think we saw it with Brandon Ayuk last year. He started off really slow before he ended up going down. So
his whole career got derailed because of that, basically.
Yeah, I don't know. I just think we're getting a little carried away with thinking that the Commanders are this like lock Super Bowl contender just because they got as far as they did last year. When I tend to lean, it was more of a getting hot at the right time, and they still have a ways to go before they're at that level.
All right, Zachy, you're last up. Top that.
Oh, you want me to top that?
I think
Is that
you're
what you
capable
want?
of
God.
it.
You want me to top
Of anyone
that?
on this panel, I think you're capable of it.
I think the beautiful thing about this time of year is football is truly back. You know, we've been walking around in the desert for the past 40 days and 40 nights, little glimmers of NFL news shining like a mirage off in the distance, but now it's here. Our thirst will be quenched. We will get football, and that means new joys, new triumphs, new overcoming of all of the odds in the world. And this year, we will see the greatest game in NFL history be played. And you think that's a hot take? Well, it's not hot enough because I have pinpointed it to 3 specific games.
What in
one
the
of these
world?
games, one of these games will be the greatest game in NFL history. Week 6, Jacksonville versus Miami.
Okay.
It sounds like you don't believe it.
Week 12, the Raiders versus the Browns. And Week 17, the Cardinals versus the Cincinnati Bengals. One of these 3 games will be the greatest game in NFL history. There'll be NFL films, documentaries. Liev Schreiber will be coming up all over, making the narration for the whole thing. And it won't be because, these 2 teams are good. It will be conditions will be insane, like we've never seen before, a mud bowl, ice bowl type of situation.
Oh, okay. I see.
There will be an overcoming of an injury that is so profound that it inspires the nation.
So is your hot take the weather?
No,
Yeah, wait.
no.
Are we talking?
I'm saying it'll be something like that.
Okay.
I'm wondering if are we talking like last year when the Hail Mary that what's his name wasn't paying attention for against the Bears? Like, is that the craziness, or are we
Like
talking
closer
like
to that Jameis
Chiefs?
Winston
Are we
game.
talking like Chiefs Rams? Like first one to 60 wins.
It will
That's
be.
what I would be looking.
It will
for.
be a combination of both of those
Okay,
factors.
all right.
That's what I'm saying. There'll
I
be
mean, I
some-
could see that in the Week 17 Cardinals and Bengals.
There'll be some overarching story, and it will combine with that sort of. I was
Okay.
thinking of that Chiefs Rams game.
Yeah,
I don't see-
forget
I
about
don't
the
see
immaculate
Jameis.
reception, Week 6, Jacksonville versus Miami. That's going to go down in the annals of football history. I think you miss, dude. These are all doo-doo bowl candidates. I don't know what you're thinking, but I don't see historic potential.
And if you're
from
gonna have
any
a
of
doo-doo
these.
bowl, like Jameis has to be playing in it for it to be fun.
Yeah, that's true. Maybe the Giants. Well, this is not. This was a premonition that came from above.
Right.
I had no.
Okay. You
couldn't help
I had
it.
no part in
You didn't
this.
shape it.
I was
Fair enough.
simply a vessel for the deliverance of this news.
And how do you explain the Troy Aikman, Jerry Jones one? Where'd that come from?
that one is through insider knowledge of the Cowboys
Okay.
organization.
All right.
Yeah, that's got some basis.
He can't say anything else, or he'd have to kill you.